Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. If everyone could take a seat, we will go ahead and get started. The requested credentials. We will also provide a 15-minute or so break this afternoon for voting just prior to when the polls will close. At this time, I would like to call on our parliamentarian, Jim Slaughter, an attorney and certified professional parliamentarian, to outline today's meeting rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is good to see everybody again, especially those of you from Western North Carolina with all you all are dealing with. I am not going to take up your limited time here today reading the rules, which you were given in advance and are posted online. They're in the notice, but I am going to summarize just a couple of them. One, in terms of the business today, the bylaws of the State Employees Credit Union say what has to happen today, and that's just the election. And of course, that's been described in great detail. Another rule basically says that if you're in this room, it means you're supposed to be in this room, which is what the check-in was for. There's going to be 1 hour of questions and answers, and as you all know, questions were asked to be submitted in advance, and that was so that answers could be researched and factual information could be given. My understanding is that over 90 questions were submitted. But they have been, there's some repeats, they've been condensed, and that's all going to be covered later. Lastly, at the end of the rules, it says if you have not already, to please silence or to turn off your cell phone. I see hands go into pockets. Please silence or turn off your cell phone so they don't ring during the meeting. And finally, the rules say that please do not record or video record the meeting individually. With that, I'm around to assist if anything comes up. Again, I'm going to end the way I began, which is my youngest son lives in Asheville. He's a volunteer up there now doing things. My middle son is a first responder. For those of you who are up there, everybody's been touched by this. For those of you who have to go back to it, I don't know what we say other than I wish you strength and fortitude as everybody works through this difficult situation. Have a good meeting today.
Thank you, Jim. Copies of the 2023 annual meeting minutes have been available on the SECU website since January of 2024. Those meetings have been approved by the Board of Directors. Are there any corrections to the minutes as posted? Hearing none, I declare the minutes approved. Now I would like to take just a few moments to recognize several of our attendees today. First, I will start with my fellow SECU board members. Stephanie Williams is the vice chair. Jennifer Haygood, secretary-treasurer. Chris Ayers is the SECU Foundation chair. Bob Brinson. Michael Clements. Ben McLawhorn. Barbara Perkins. Chuck Stone. And McKinley Wooten. I would also like to recognize SECU Foundation board members Lee Brown and Brad McMillan. Thank you all for being here today. We may have some former board members with us today, and I'm going to ask that if you are a former SECU board member or an SECU Foundation board member that are attending today, if you will please stand and be recognized. We got, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. We also have a number of other special guests here today that I want to recognize. If you would, please stand when I call your name and remain standing until everyone has been recognized. I'd like to start with Christina Ray, Administrator for the North Carolina Credit Union Division. Brian Edwards, Examination Manager with the North Carolina Credit Union Division. I'm not sure if Todd Harper has come in. He is the Chair of the National Credit Union Administration Board. Dan Schlein, President and CEO of Carolinas Credit Union League. Lindsay Dowling, Director of Governmental Affairs, Carolinas Credit Union League. Lauren Whaley, President of Carolinas Credit Union Foundation. Artis Watkins, Executive Director of Scenic. Brenda Williams Brown, Chief Financial Officer of Scenic. Dwayne Naylor, President and CEO of Local Government Federal Credit Union and Civic Federal Credit Union. Day Matthews, Chief Legal Officer of Civic Federal Credit Union. Aaron Noble, Board Member of Civic Federal Credit Union. Ashley Ruffin, Chief Impact Officer of Civic Federal Credit Union. Vicky Garcia, President and CEO of Latino Community Credit Union. And of course, the team from Ernst & Young, our election facilitator. We appreciate all of you being with us today. Thank you very much. Many of you in this room are volunteers for SECU, serving on our member advisory boards and various committees. I want to thank you very much for your service and representation for members across the state. Thank you for being here today. Finally, I'd like to recognize any retired SECU employees in attendance and all current SECU staff members. Please stand at this time and be recognized. Thank you to each of you for your work to improve the lives of our members. We greatly appreciate your efforts. As I begin my report as chair of the State Employees Credit Union Board, I want to acknowledge, as Jim did, that some of our folks may be unable to attend today following the devastation in Western North Carolina. I will say our thoughts and prayers are with those folks and will continue to be. Chris and Lee will be discussing SECU's efforts to provide aid to those that are in need. It is incredibly rewarding for me to serve a member-owned cooperative that is grounded in the people helping people philosophy and steadfast in its mission of service. One of the things that I appreciate most is how SECU lives out its mission, not just talking the talk, but also walking the walk, working to make a positive difference for our more than 2.8 million members and the communities in which they live. At SECU, there is a difference. As your SECU board chair, I'm pleased to share more about that difference and how it is reflected in the work that we've accomplished over the past fiscal year. The strong and trusted relationships that we've built with you have been the result of listening and using your feedback to help direct our work and to best meet your financial needs. This past year, we implemented more listening tools to enhance our member communication, including email, a mobile app chat feature, and a new member survey tool, which we used this past spring to issue a survey about proposed changes to our election policies and procedures. More than 33,000 members responded with overwhelming support of those changes. We appreciate very much your engagement to help guide our decisioning on these important issues. We have also been traveling around the state hosting roadshows and member listening sessions to share more with you and to gather your feedback. We are hearing you and responding with ways to help keep more money in your pockets, such as the elimination of numerous fees and increases in deposit rates. SECU's fees remain among the lowest in the country compared to our credit union peers. And when comparing SECU deposit rates to other financial institutions, our share term certificates and money market share account offer top-of-market rates. We also continued our work in the lending area as we strive to offer the best possible loan rates to serve all of our members. The previous one price for all strategy prohibited us from doing that, which is why the board approved a tier-based pricing model for auto and consumer loan products. While we chose to start with a 5-tier rate structure based on credit scores, our board has consistently and continuously monitored the impacts of this model. And over the past year, we compressed those rates into an improved 3-tier model. We also rolled out a discount loan program for qualifying current and retired state of North Carolina employees on our closed-end consumer loans, adding even more value for our base membership. We're excited to see members who were borrowing elsewhere come back to SECU for their lending needs. We hope you've noticed a few other positive changes as well, including our recent website refresh. It offers improved navigation, a better search functionality, and more tools, as well as now a card lock and unlock feature that is available on SECU credit and debit cards. And finally, coming in 2025 is one of our most requested products. We will be offering a rewards credit card that will allow you to earn cash back or accumulate points for gift cards, merchandise, or travel. Yeah, it's about time, right? Our SECU board and leadership are working very hard to make a positive financial difference for you and your families. In doing so, we also keep the credit union's fiscal strength a top focus to ensure that we remain safe, sound, and well-positioned to serve you now and into the future. Our assets and earnings were strong, and our operating expenses were well managed, demonstrating good stewardship of your money. We were also thrilled to welcome thousands of new members to the State Employees Credit Union family. We're up nearly 70,000 members since 2023, and that growth has been consistent year over year. But the strength of our cooperative isn't just in our financials. Our cooperative spirit also drives us to make a difference in our communities. This past year, we collected school supplies for teachers and students. We provided food to fill local pantries and toys and gifts for North Carolina children and families to have a brighter holiday season. There will be more to come, certainly, as we finish out this year, but in the first part of 2024, SECU team members logged more than 8,000 volunteer hours to give back to their communities. Although you're going to hear more about this from Chris Ayers, I would be remiss not to mention the incredible impact being made by our member-funded SECU Foundation. It is beyond remarkable what is being accomplished for the people of our state through our collective effort. In closing, I want to give you a heartfelt thank you to SECU's dedicated staff of over 8,000 and for our more than 3,000 volunteers serving on committees and advisory boards across the state. We appreciate all you do for SECU. To our 2.8 million members, thank you for your membership and your support. You are the heart of all that we do, and you are the difference for SECU. Thank you very much. Next, I'm pleased to report that we obtained clean financial opinion audits in all areas for State Employees Credit Union from our CPAs, Clifton, Larson, Allen. If you have not already done so, you may review a copy of the audited financial statements on our website. As we prepare for today's election, I'd like to share a little bit about the role of SECU board members. The overall duty of your board of directors is to ensure that the credit union is operated in a safe and sound manner and in accordance with the SECU bylaws. Among other duties, the board establishes a strategic plan and goals for the credit union and approves policies and new products and services. While setting interest rates and determining our service fees, the board consistently monitors the financial health of our cooperative. In accordance with the board election policies and procedures, the nominating committee letter was posted on the SECU website on July the 18th, and the SECU notice of annual meeting and candidate statements of background were posted on the SECU website and in all branches on August the 23rd. I will now call on the nominating committee chair, Chuck Stone, to present the nominating committee report.
Thank you, Mona. Joining me on the nominating committee this year were fellow board members, Mona Moon, Chris Ayers, Jennifer Haygood, and Ben McLawhorn, and at-large members, Amaka Flynn, Jennifer Willis, and Jim Johnson. I'd like to thank all the committee members for their service. The responsibility of the SECU Board Nominating Committee is to identify, evaluate, and nominate prospective candidates for the SECU Board of Directors. In doing this, we assess the eligibility for membership on the Board of Directors using multiple criteria, including the merits of the candidates by way of their education, character, professional board and volunteer experience, as well as their knowledge of the credit union, demonstrated commitment to the needs of our members, and capacity and capability to be an effective addition to the current composition of your SECU Board of Directors. 11 prospective candidates submitted applications to the nominating committee. All of these were reviewed individually and in detail. The nominating committee evaluated each candidate on the merits of their applications to select 4 candidates for nomination to the Board of Directors and consideration by you, the membership, on the election ballot. The 4 candidates recommended by the Nominating Committee to serve 3-year terms expiring October of 2027 are Bob Brenson, Mark Fleming, Stephanie Williams, and McKinley Wooten. In addition, we have 4 self-nominated candidates included on the ballot: Jean Blaine, Susie Ford, Julian Halls, Russell Kirby Parrish. Of the candidates who applied, Brenson, Fleming, Williams, and Wooten best meet the evaluation criteria to continue to be effective directors for the credit union and advocates for our members in line with SECU's mission, vision, and values. Thank you, and I would just like to note one other thing. Mona, I want to thank you for expanding membership involvement with our 3 at-large members to give our members greater voice. Thank you very much.
Chuck, thank you very much for your report, and thank you very much for your service as the chair of our nominating committee. Next, I would like to introduce Chris Ayers. Again, he serves as the board chair of SECU Foundation. He will provide this year's foundation report.
Thank you, Mona. Good afternoon. So as chair of the SECU Foundation Board of Directors, I have the honor of working with one of the most impactful, one of the most unique, and one of the most respected charitable organizations in the state of North Carolina. The Foundation's mission is to help identify and address community issues and promote local community development in all 100 counties of our state. This is accomplished through tremendous collaboration and supportive relationships throughout North Carolina. And it is funded through the power of $1, which is the reallocation of the $1 monthly checking fee every month from a member's checking account. That, I believe, is one of the best kept secrets in the state of North Carolina. I can tell you, as I visit our communities to present checks or otherwise visit with our partners, the number of people who come up after hearing the presentation say, I've been a member for 20, 30 years. I had no idea that my dollar went to fund projects like this, and they're always excited about the impact they're having in that community as well as across the state. But it's only thanks to the generosity and the commitment of SECU members and the power of that dollar. We're making contributions that have a transformative impact in the areas of education, housing, healthcare, and human services. It's just another way that we live out our philosophy of people helping people. So the foundation was founded back in 2004, chartered by the SECU Board of Directors. And over that 20 years, we have surpassed $300 million in cumulative grants, loans, and scholarships benefiting North Carolinians. In the past year, your foundation has awarded funds to 47 nonprofits for projects and initiatives totaling over $15 million. Today, I'm going to share just a few of the projects with you that reflect how our collective efforts are making a long-lasting difference for our members, our communities in the state of North Carolina. I'm going to start with SECU's award-winning mission development grants. This is a program that allows communities and organizations to increase capacity and bring vital resources to the populations that they serve. It helps them identify needs and a path to sustainability. Mission development grants were awarded to 30 nonprofits located in 22 counties this year across the state. Nonprofits that focused on areas such as affordable housing and health care, child abuse and neglect, and access to education and community resources. Now, our larger grants, more traditional grants, you might say, in the Sandhills region, your support is helping expand Outreach Mission, Inc. of Lee County, OMI provides shelter and essential services to individuals experiencing homelessness across 9 counties in the Sandhills. In the Triangle area, the Lucy Daniels Center received funding for a new therapy facility to bring mental health services and resources to children and their families. We also expanded work with hospitality houses, awarding funds to the Caring House in Durham, which provides affordable accommodations for patients receiving treatment at the Duke Cancer Institute. Further west, Helpmate, the largest domestic violence service provider in the western region, received funding to support the construction of a new facility in Buncombe County. The foundation also awarded a combined $500,000 to Feeding the Carolinas and the Salvation Army of the Carolinas to allow for quick response and immediate assistance should a disaster strike. Disaster response work also expanded this year, awarding capacity building funds to 2 nonprofits in Haywood County to provide economic and community resources following the closure of the largest employer in the area. Now, all of us are aware of the devastation that Western North Carolina has experienced over the last couple of weeks with Hurricane Helene. If you are from Western North Carolina, just raise your hand. I know that a lot of folks were not able to make it. I see a group over here, and I see some hands throughout the room. I want to say thank you for joining us. I realize that it is not easy, and I see a few more empty tables this year than we normally have, and I think that's a reflection of some folks just literally cannot be here because of the devastation in Western North Carolina. I want you to know that people are praying for you, people are mobilizing for you, and SECU will do its part to help Western North Carolina recover. To this end, last week the Foundation Board approved 5 grants to support the response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. The Foundation approved a $1 million grant to Feeding the Carolinas, to Salvation Army of the Carolinas, and Baptist Stone Mission, $500,000 to the American Red Cross of North Carolina, and $250,000 to Meals on Wheels. SECU and SECU Foundation is committed to helping Western North Carolina recover and move forward. Moving on to education. Our focus on education continued with the renewal of our People Helping People scholarships and the Bridge to Career program. These scholarships benefit high school seniors and community college students throughout North Carolina. This commitment totals $6 million annually. The SECU Public Fellows Internship Program continues to support university students competing paid internships with local nonprofits and government agencies. The Foundation's commitment totals $1.7 million each year. The Foundation also renewed its support for Lead for North Carolina. This is a program that's coordinated through the School of Government at UNC Chapel Hill. It helps recent college graduates complete a paid fellowship program with local governments. This is a $1 million commitment that spans 5 years. In closing, what I've just shared with you is a mere glimpse of the collective work of the Foundation from the past fiscal year. As you can see, SECU Foundation continues to be a powerful force, and we would not be able to do this work without the support of so many people. First, I want to thank SECU, particularly its staff, the Foundation staff. You all do an incredible job of fostering partnerships, identifying opportunities for the Foundation to invest in communities, and then developing and continuing those relationships over the years. I also want to thank our branches and our advisory board members. I always think it's cool when I visit a community to present a check or otherwise speak at a project that we funded, and there's a tremendous attendance by our local branches and by our advisory board members. And of course, you are instrumental in identifying projects and needs. And you're also critical to volunteer support in these communities. The 8,000 hours of volunteer service that Mona talked about earlier, many of these volunteer hours occur at the very projects and programs that the Foundation has supported. And finally, we could not do this without the support of the 2.8 million members of State Employees Credit Union who allow us to allocate that maintenance fee to the Foundation. Together, through the power of a dollar, we are strengthening communities, responding to disaster, and improving the health and well-being of our fellow North Carolinians. Thank you for your generous support, the SECU Foundation. We look forward to all that will be accomplished with our collective efforts in the next 20 years and beyond. At this time, I invite you to turn your attention to the video screens for the debut of our SECU Foundation 20th anniversary video. Enjoy.
SECU formed a foundation because we had lots of requests coming in from across our state, and we wanted our members to have an opportunity to help. But being a cooperative, it's kind of difficult to get that organized. So Jim Blaine, our president and CEO at the time, and our board got together and figured out how we could use that monthly maintenance fee, that $1 and the power of a dollar we talk about, to fund that foundation. And it's made a big difference across our state. Every time I go somewhere in North Carolina, I meet someone who has been impacted by the SECU Foundation through our programs, through our buildings, through a scholarship, through a hospice house or a family house. The impact of the SECU Foundation over the years has been tremendous. I was there at the very beginning and remember that the board focused on something that would be statewide as a first project, hence our scholarship program.
Our goal from the very beginning was to have a presence in communities, not just for our members, but in those places where our members live, work, and worship. Because scholarships were our first initiative, we've learned a lot since day one, and what we've learned is that not only should we be supporting students that are going to four-year universities, but it's also important for us to support those students that are going to community colleges for 2 years, or to those students that are going to get a credential to go right to work. I think our impact of the scholarship program is tremendous across the state. Not only are we helping communities, but we're helping families. And also we're showing young people that SECU supports them and supports their futures. It is our goal to show that the support of SECU matters in Carteret County as much as it matters in Wake County, as much as it matters in Buncombe County, because we are all about people helping people. Because of the power of the dollar, we've been able to expand and sustain our scholarship program for all these years.
The initial part of the foundation that was critical to us is that the members knew where their money was going. The permanency of a project gave us a brand that connected the foundation with the credit union, and the meaning for both was the same. Members needed to know that their money was being well handled, that we were good stewards as a credit union, but the foundation gave them the permanency. It was important that wherever we invested money, we wanted that project to be sustainable and replicable in other parts of the state. And in this case, I think the foundation has stayed true to its purpose. They've stayed true to the membership, stayed true to North Carolina, and I think all of that pulls it together for the membership. First project, the SECU Family House, came to us, and I will tell you the entire board and myself were extremely nervous because we'd not given away money like that before. But we found a foundation in Chapel Hill with the SECU Family House folks that said, we're gonna make this work. People need what we're doing. And it served people across the state of North Carolina. And we did not know exactly what we were doing up front. We had to work through those and see a project like SECU Family House or the teacher housing in Hertford County. That project came from the principal of the school system and the superintendent. They needed help. How do you recruit teachers in a low-income county? And how can you provide a good place for them to live? So we came up with that project. And that meant, since we support education across the state of North Carolina, that gave us an opportunity to show it.
Over the years, as the foundation has grown and evolved, The foundation board frequently will take a step back and evaluate, are there other areas where we need to be focused? Are there areas perhaps where we need to shift focus? One of the things we noticed over the years was the number of organizations that came to the foundation but otherwise didn't neatly fit with one of our 4 core areas, or otherwise wasn't in a position to take on a grant of the size that they were asking. That's where the idea of mission development grants came into play. The mission development grants are designed to help these organizations crystallize their vision, to develop the ability to raise and sustain funds, to develop staff, develop programming. It's allowing an organization to dream big. And we bring consultants along beside them to help map out that dream and then break it into actionable steps that allow that dream to become a reality and have a lasting impact in communities across North Carolina. I think the mission development grant process is pretty unique for the foundation. It gives the foundation an opportunity to have an impact across a much broader group of organizations and a much more diverse group of communities than it otherwise would if we were solely focused on the large brick and mortar and other grants that we are historically known for. One of the really neat things that I've seen as foundation board chair is when you visit the site of a partner, either for groundbreaking or ribbon cutting, awarding a check, or even just to celebrate the work that they're doing, is the number of people that come out from our local branches in support of that work. Anytime you have that much enthusiasm and that much energy, you have to be excited about what the future holds. And I'm certainly excited about what the future holds for the foundation.
It's really amazing since the inception of the foundation in 2004 that we have had the opportunity through the $1 fee from our members each and every month, that humble $1, to commit $250 million to scholarship winners in North Carolina, to nonprofits doing essential work that literally in many cases is saving lives. We really over the last couple decades have really not made any major changes to our strategies, and I think that's because we got it right out of the gate. Focusing in 4 key areas of funding, healthcare, housing, education, and human services really covers the most important essential needs of communities throughout North Carolina and really directly impacts our members. As the credit union has grown over these many years, so has the foundation. And a huge part of our growth obviously comes from the success of SECU. And as SECU continues to grow and continues to remain relevant in their communities and provide such important financial resources to our members, our foundation has more opportunity to partner and to grow in those same communities and provide even more impact. The future of this foundation is so incredibly bright because of the support that we have from State Employees Credit Union, but also the support of our members who really believe in our mission, believe in our core values, and understand the need to really come together as a cooperative to make a difference in North Carolina.
Wow, that's a great video. It really is wonderful to hear the positive impact of our SECU Foundation and that it continues to have on the lives of our members and the people of North Carolina. Thank you all for your support of the foundation. Next, I'm going to ask our President and CEO, Lee Brady, to come to the stage to present her report of the President and CEO. Lee.
All right, to start, let's give a hand to our member outreach, our comms team, our marketing team, our to do. So before I begin my report on the fiscal year, please join me in a moment of silence for those impacted by Hurricane Helene and its historic devastation. SECU members, via the SECU Foundation, as Chris Ayers mentioned, committed $3.75 million to Hurricane Helene relief. And that will go to provide immediate aid for those impacted North Carolinians. SECU has also donated $125,000 to the Carolinas Credit Union Foundation's Disaster Relief Fund, aimed at helping credit unions and their employees recover. And I want to let you know that all of our team members at SECU are safe, all right? SECU's also established an employee relief fund as well, and that offers the opportunity for our team members to help their peers who are in need. And your donations of items today, that almost truckload of items, that and in the days ahead when you donate at our branch locations all across the state, that will go to help ensuring those in need receive care. We are collecting the items today through 2 o'clock, all right? Just wanted to make sure that you knew that. And I cannot say enough about the strength and the resiliency of our SECU team. This story was shared with me by a Red Cross representative. SECU team, he writes, I just received this message from my colleague in the West, in the field, and thought I'd pass along immediately. And the colleague, the one in the field, says, I wanted to tell you a story that you might want to share with the contact at State Employees Credit Union. An 11-year-old boy was trapped under a house during the hurricane while the rest of his family escaped. Their dog alerted rescuers as to his location, and he was eventually airlifted to Atrium Hospital in Concord. Sheila Crunkleton, the executive director in the Southern Piedmont chapter, visited with the family and learned that the little boy's grandmother didn't have any ID, didn't have her bank card. Sheila was able to get in touch with State Employees Credit Union, and they worked lightning fast to get her card replaced so that she could access funds. The assistant branch manager that helped was Jennifer Schultz, and the branch was Concord Rock Hill Church Road. Jennifer is with us today, and I wanted her to stand up, if she will. You see, Jennifer and Richard Long and all of our team members in our branches, right? That's about what we do as an organization. They represent the people helping people philosophy of credit unions. And I am confident that we're going to hear stories just like that as we move along in the days and months ahead. Another heartfelt story is one where another credit union came to our aid, and that's Suncoast Credit Union out of Tampa, Florida. We don't have a mobile ATM. We used to, all right? And let me tell you, we're going to have one in the future, all right? All right, there you go. I know, because we need it. But we didn't have one. And folks in the western part of the state, you might have heard that cash is going away. Let me tell you, Cash has been king there, all right? And desperately, they needed a mobile ATM. Suncoast and Tampa stepped up and said, we have one for you that you can use. It has satellite and doesn't require cell service, right? And their business continuity professional, Stacy, drove it up from Tampa, Florida. Jamie Applequist and Jonathan Crane drove that thing to Asheville and Oak Plaza, and in the first weekend, I think it turned out $70,000, all right, to folks in Asheville. I know, it's great, it's great. So the other thing is, what are they going to do now? Because they are right in the line of Hurricane Milton. My understanding is they do have another mobile ATM, right? But I've already reached out to Kevin Johnson, their CEO at Suncoast, and said, whatever we can do to assist you, we will be there, all right? So let's talk a little happy note, all right? And that is that we had the first SECU employee reach a 50 years of service milestone in the past year. I know. Lee Brady's not going to be here 50 years, let me just tell you that. Right. But she also happens to be with us today. So I would like to ask Rose Skinner from Greenville to please stand so we can recognize you. And Rose isn't stopping anytime soon. All right. So she is great. You may have also noticed that our protege competition, we have delayed that competition. We normally have that before our annual meeting, but that will be held at a later time, and that's really because of Hurricane Helene. But kudos to Cindy Hubbard, all of the volunteers who have helped to make that competition happen. Right? So time and again, since I was named CEO, I've been asked by folks what my vision is for SECU. My response has often been, my vision for SECU is the same as I hope your vision is. We work together to leave this place better than we found it. Don't misunderstand. What I found when I came into the role is what I've always known to be true. SECU's secret sauce, and I say this all the time, is our people. And what SECU is built on is showing care and compassion for others, being that trusted provider, that financial provider, and helping members keep money where it belongs, in their pockets. Our board and our team members, we do that in many ways that I will outline for you today, but leaving it better than we found it. It's setting this organization up for the future. To compete in a financial services world that, let's be honest, it's changed dramatically since COVID. Together, as a team, as a cooperative, we should all be concerned about setting SECU up for the future, for our kids and for our grandkids, because the way in which they conduct their financial services is very different than the way we conducted it, even 5 years ago. Today's financial services industry, and it includes fintechs, Apple, Amazon, PayPal, you name it these days. It's more competitive than ever. Sometimes, folks, we have to acknowledge that what worked in the past just might not work for the future. So let's talk a little bit about how the board and your management team are working to make sure that we meet the current needs of members while also leaving it better for the future. Today, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time providing a financial update of the past year, talk a little more, and I think Mona already covered some of this, all right, about how we're delivering more for members. And she covered a little bit too, and I will as well, about what we've got planned for fiscal year 2025. The most important thing that you need to know is that SECU is safe and sound. And something that I know that you, as a member owner, you always want to rely on. Our assets, our loans, our deposits are all up at SECU. But let's look a little bit at net income. And this chart kind of lays out our net income over the past 5 years. You may be looking at the chart and you're thinking, net income's a lot lower this year. What happened? Well, you remember the pockets I was talking about, leaving those dollars in our member pockets? Those earnings went into the pockets of our members. While our earnings for fiscal year 2023 were $587 million, the earnings for fiscal year 2024 were approximately $210 million. This is a direct result of what I mentioned last year was a priority for us, increasing deposit rates. So you can see on this slide that while our net income went down by $377 million last year, our dividend expense, what was paid to our members as interest on their deposits, it rose by $502 million. So, and I don't know how many of you remembered me talking last year about the desire to roll out a special share term certificate, that 9-month special CD, and that our IT folks told me it would take about 9 months to make that happen, right? Well, they did it, okay? They did it before the end of our fiscal year 2024, and on June 13th of this year, they rolled out that new 9-month special CD. How many folks took advantage of that new share term certificate and the great rate offered? Anybody? I did. Close to 75,000 members did, with $3.2 billion coming into that product. Amazing work. So you've seen this slide a little before, and if you've been to any of our road shows, you've seen it. Rex Spivey, our Chief Financial Officer, shared that with you. Our deposit rates, y'all, they are appealing. They're appealing to members, and yes, even our money market rate. According to an independent deposit ranking report, and we use an independent ranking report firm, all right, it ranks SECU's rate for money market at the top for those with up to $50,000 in deposits. Now, for members who have $250,000, we don't have tiered deposit rates. And we don't have that on our roadmap to offer it. So could they likely get a better rate going elsewhere with $250,000? Absolutely, they could. But what you also need to know is the average balance in our money market accounts is just over $32,000. And the median balance that you see the most, that is $8,600. We are the top rate for that. This graph, as I said, it might look familiar to you. And last year, you could see visibly the need that we had to stabilize our deposits. But I hope at the end of it, you see that upward trend. Members are bringing back deposits to SECU. And if you take a look at what has happened in the overall financial market, take a look at this slide. This shows consumer excess savings trend. And that is for the whole entire country, okay? This is not just SECU. San Francisco Federal Reserve data makes this slide up. And it shows that our consumer excess savings, it was at a peak in summer of 2021. And you remember all of the economic impact payments that we got from COVID, right? An extra $4 billion coming into SECU. And then inflation hit, and people started going places, and they started spending money. So what you see is it's declining. Take a big look at that orange. It almost looks like a mountain there, right? But the one thing you should take note of is that it's in negative territory now, and that is concerning. It tells a story. Last year, I also talked about the need to move to tier-based pricing on our loans, because data showed us that more than 80% of our borrowing members found consumer loans and credit cards from other lenders. They did not come to SECU. Data also showed us that by utilizing tier-based pricing, we could have been giving nearly 70% of our borrowing current or retired state employees a better rate. As of June 2023, we had only rolled out tiered pricing on auto loans. In November of 23, we migrated the rest of our consumer loan offerings to this new structure. But make no mistake, our board was monitoring any impacts on members from day one in March of 2023. They were requesting scenarios. What happens if we do this? What happens if we make this change, right? And what they were doing was looking all along to see what we could do to possibly compress from any more that offering, okay? So we already had a very, very, very small spread between our 5 tiers. But I'm pleased to report in April of 2024 that our board voted to move from those 5 tiers on consumer loans down to 3 tiers on consumer loans. And that means that A-score borrowers get an A rate, B-score borrowers get a B rate, and C, D, E, or borrowers with no credit score all receive a C rate. Previously, under the one rate for all model, all members were being charged about a B- to C+ rate. In effect, this means that we are now offering all members the very best rate that we can. And has that made a difference in bringing back borrowers who had left SECU? Absolutely. If you look at that blue line on the graph that was under 20% in Q4 of 2021, you'll see that in Q4 of 2023, we're now at 25.84%. It's making a difference. And your board in June of 2023 also approved a 0.5% rate discount on vehicle and closed-end signature loans for qualifying state employees and retirees in all credit tiers. And that is to provide our core membership base with an added benefit. SECU implemented this discount program in August of 2023, and the program has resulted in over 2 million in interest savings, with nearly 3,500 members taking advantage of that. Those are savings for our core members. And it's a testament to the board's consideration for those members at all times. So when you're looking at our overall financial ratios for the 2024 fiscal year, this shows you where our targets are and how we're performing. Areas that we are continuing to work on are delinquency and charge-offs. But this is impacting credit unions across the country, not just SECU. We have Callahan is a company that we have used for years. We've had a subscription with them to help give us some peer data. This slide here shows peer data, peer credit unions, and it does not include Navy Federal Credit Union. They are over 3 times the asset size of SECU, right? But it does include all the others over $10 billion. It also includes some in North Carolina as well. SECU is the blue line. Peers are in the orange. It shows you how we are comparing to our peers in delinquency of 60-plus days. And this goes all the way back to June of 2014 to June of 2024. It shows that SECU has been consistently higher than peers in delinquency for years. Another important factor is that SECU has always, and I hope will always, we've provided loans to those with very low credit scores or no credit scores, something that all credit unions just don't do. And what can't be collected in terms of delinquent loans, it requires us to charge off those items. Again, this graph goes all the way back to June of 2014 to June of 2024, and it shows consistently that SECU's charge-offs are lower than our peers. And that's a testament because it shows how much our teams work with our members to help guide them out of delinquency and help manage their financial situations so that they don't have to have their loans charged off. So if you want to put Navy Federal in there, all right, and Clifton Larson Allen, who are our auditors, they provided us with a bunch of data, and I thought I'd pull out what the top 5 credit unions, what happened there in terms of charge-offs. And this is 6 months this year in 2024, as of June 2024. So I thought it would be good for you to see the net charge-offs and the annualized percentage of charge-offs to loans. So if you'll pay attention to the 2 right columns there, I hope you see that SECU was the second to the lowest in year-to-date net charge-offs as an annualized percentage to loans. Rising charge-offs are an issue for many financial institutions. And when I recently got together with CEOs from across the country, the top 3 concerns for the CEOs were rising delinquency, rising charge-offs, and higher instances of fraud. They are hitting everyone, and those are all headwinds that SECU faces as well. So I mentioned the better rates on the deposits and the loans. our board, as Mona mentioned, also worked to eliminate numerous fees over the past year. SECU no longer charges a stop payment fee. We don't charge an NSF representment fee, or an overdraft transfer fee, or a verification of deposit fee, or returned item fee. We are providing more for members and listening more than we ever have at SECU. We do that in a variety of ways, through meetings with our management teams, direct feedback from our always-on tools or surveys, via board members and execs traveling across the state to meet with advisory board members, hosting member listening sessions, and through data. Because data is an important element that lets us know what our members are using and what our members are not using. And our overall Net Promoter Score, this is a score that shows the loyalty of members, and it ranges from -100 to +100. It comes in for SECU at 63. That is compared to an industry average in credit unions of 48 for our region, and a score of 39 for banks. So that is something that you should be proud of. A score over 50 is considered excellent. This is not the same measurement that we had used in previous membership surveys, right? It's very different. We used to use a survey that was a random sample of members, and we did that once a year to determine their satisfaction with SECU. Responses that we received, they numbered anywhere from 300 responses to 600 members responding. The number of survey responses that make up the Net Promoter Score, however, 18,707. We are hearing from more members than ever before. As Mona mentioned, more for members also meant that card lock and unlock functionality on our mobile app for debit cards and credit cards. It meant Wi-Fi in our SECU branches. It may not seem like a big deal, but I promise you it is, all right? It meant the ability for SECU to email members, the rollout of a chat feature on our mobile app, and that previously mentioned SECU website as well. And then here is what the new rewards cards will look like, all right? One of the big things is no annual fee for these. We will still have our classic card. We will also offer a points rewards card and a cash rewards card. So what else is fiscal year 2025 bringing? Well, we already started the year off, right, with two major successes. And the first being the Independence Project of Latino Community Credit Union. Congratulations to Latino Community Credit Union's President and CEO, Vicky Garcia, and her team, as they have successfully moved to their own core system, and they are handling all of their daily operations now. And Vicky is here with us today. Vicky, will you please stand? It was a heavy lift, and they did a fabulous job, and the support team at SECU is also to be commended. So great, great work. So another big thing is that we moved to a new mortgage servicing platform as well. And we moved from a early 1980s platform to a recent. I know, yes, it's early 1980s. I was not quite out of high school yet when the last one was put in, all right? But we successfully migrated that to a current platform. And that's going to allow us to do a heck of a lot more for our members. Kudos to the teams that made that happen as well. What else can you look for in the coming year? Our folks are going to put in some additional components in our member services support platform, that contact center. Voice authentication will be one of those. We're going to be replacing our branch ATMs because they need replacing. And we'll be announcing our new core vendor partner. For all of those folks who have been writing in that they want SECU to help them with small business services, this will have to take place first. And then that is on the roadmap to offer you. We're going to be rolling out a new digital platform. Will it include Zelle? Not right off the bat, okay? But we'll get there, folks. Person to person, that account to account, it is on the roadmap. And then we're going to be helping to ensure the successful conversion of local government federal credit union as they work towards their independence as well. And then we will continue to work hard to provide great member service while maintaining our safety and our soundness. All of this while keeping our mission at the center. Let's all read this together, if you will. To be the trusted provider of financial services to every eligible member and to enhance the value of their lives and financial well-being while maintaining our fiscal strength. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our volunteer board of directors, our board committee members, and some of those are here with us today, our volunteer advisory board members, and SECU's incredible team members who are, as I mentioned at the beginning, our secret sauce. You helped to make my first year as SECU as CEO a rewarding one. And while we all acknowledge that there's another contested election this year, regardless of the result, our board and our entire team will work to move SECU forward in the best way that we know how, with care, with compassion that means the world to our members. Members such as Alva Ward from Manteo, who's been a member since 1969, and she's thankful for Rhonda Smith's assistance with her share term certificates. Or Lisa Stevens from Tallahassee, Florida, who commended SECU employee Michael Radford for his extraordinary care on a Saturday evening when he called to assist Lisa with needed paperwork for her transaction. Care and a high level of service are what our teams do best, and that will never change. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much, Lee. We really do appreciate your leadership and your important message for our cooperative this afternoon. At the beginning of this, I said that we were going to take a break at 1:45 and have 15 more minutes to vote. We are past 1:45, and we are also past 2 o'clock, which is when the polls were supposed to close. However, I did promise that we would take a 15-minute break and allow anyone who has yet to vote to do so at this time. I have 2:15. We will take a quick break. We will reconvene at 2:30. If you have not voted and you would like to do so, now is the time. The polls will close at 2:30. Thank you. Okay, if everybody could retake your seats, please. It is 2:30 p.m. The polls are closed. Thank you, everyone. As I said, the polls are now closed, and Ernst & Young are going to tabulate the votes from today and combine those with the votes from the absentee ballots. They will deliver the results to the stage in a sealed envelope. Those will come to me to open, and I will read them aloud prior to the conclusion of the meeting. At this time, as I mentioned before, we've reserved up to an hour for member question and answers. Questions were submitted in advance of the meeting. We intend to answer as many of those questions as time allows. Our plan at this time, despite us being a little bit behind, is to spend an hour on Q&A. If there are questions that we're unable to answer within that hour, then if those that are of general interest to the membership, then we'll make those available on the website. I will now call on Leslie Jenkins, Associate Executive Vice President of Learning and Organizational Development, and Lee Brady to come to the stage for the question and answer session.
All right, so before we get started, I wanted to make sure that everyone understands the format that we are using and that the board approved today. We have used a format in the past similar to this, where questions were received ahead of time and answered during the meeting. All right? And also where questions were not accepted from the floor as well. So previously it had been limited to advisory board members, but this time we were able to open up and gather the questions from general members as well, anyone attending the annual meeting, so we are pleased to be able to do that. We received 90 questions from 1,263 members who registered to attend the annual meeting. So in the interest of time, we did consolidate the questions that were received, the same questions from multiple members, all right? So we have kind of categorized those, and Leslie's going to help me out by reading the question, and then I will read the response to you. Leslie, take it away.
All right, our first category, speaking at the annual meeting. Why can SECU members speak at the annual meeting?
So with over 1,000 members in attendance and many questions on their minds, this year SECU sought a way to answer as many member questions as possible. In years past, we gathered questions, as I mentioned before, from advisory board members prior to the meeting. This year, we're pleased to gather those questions from all attendees. So our format today allows SECU to respond to more questions than via a live format. And it helps SECU group and answer similar questions together and gives members an equal opportunity to ask those questions.
Next question. Will you please post every question submitted by members without grouping for viewing on the SECU website?
So as was the practice with previous meetings, so we don't intend to post every question on the website, but we will do our very best to respond to all questions today.
Which board member made the motion to change the rules of the annual meeting to not allow member input from the floor?
Look, in terms of governance, this board right here, they act as one body, all right? That is governance. And there you go. And they're acting as one body when all decisions are made. So we will not be providing a response to that question.
Our next topic, the election. What are we voting for?
SECU members are voting to select 4 of the 11 members of SECU's Board of Directors.
Why weren't the self-nominated candidates given the same opportunity to expand their online profiles as the incumbents?
All candidates, both nominated and self-nominated, were given the exact same opportunity to provide information for their statements of background. The statements of background provided online are drawn verbatim from the candidates' applications. The candidates' completed applications are available in those plastic holders on your tables today for you, and they've been on SECU's website for several weeks now, but everyone had the exact same opportunity.
Can the incumbent nominees mention what contributions they have made during their tenure in regards to SECU's strategic plan? Additionally, can the new nominees mention what contributions they will bring, keeping the strategic plan in mind?
So while this cycle and this election cycle is finished for today, we definitely are going to pass along this suggestion to the board for consideration next year. Great suggestion.
Why were SECU members restricted from gathering board nomination signatures for themselves at SECU locations? Our requirements for advisory board self-nomination includes gathering hundreds of valid member signatures, but not at SECU branch locations.
So SECU wished to preserve the member privacy and ensure members seeking to conduct business at SECU locations can do so without being subjected to any campaigning activity. I want to make sure that we are clear where it said the requirement for AB self-nomination, the advisory board. There is no self-nomination process for branch advisory boards that requires any signatures whatsoever. So I want to make sure we're clear on that.
All of the current members of the Board of Directors live in the north central region of North Carolina. North Carolina is a big state with many regions and hundreds of miles between them. The perspectives of the board members do not necessarily reflect the vast differences culturally and socioeconomically that exist between members across the state. What can be done to introduce regional diversity among the board?
So we have board members who reside in Winston-Salem, in Pittsboro, and in Goldsboro, areas kind of outside of the Triangle. And our board chair also recently appointed an at-large board committee member, Andrew Bowen, I believe is here today, to our IT governance committee as well. And Andrew's from the Charlotte area. So while many of our directors have come from the Triangle area due to the high concentration of state employees who live and work there, we certainly would welcome more regional diversity.
How would I get on the board?
It's a little late this year, okay? SECU uses an application and a nominating committee as a primary means to identify, screen, and recruit members who are willing to serve on the board of directors. Historically, most directors have been nominated and elected as a result of a slate placed before the membership by the nominating committee. However, the bylaws also allow for self-nominations by petition.
Our next topic, tier-based pricing. I would like to know the parameters of tier-based lending. What criteria is used? What are the tiers? What are the rates?
So SECU has always priced our loan products based on risk factors, such as the presence of collateral, loan to value maybe, or the term of the loan. Pricing based on a member's credit score is now an additional risk factor that's used in determining rates for consumer loans. SECU uses a 3-tiered pricing model for consumer lending, with consideration given to our cost of funds, our servicing costs, our loan losses, and market rates. So our range of rates is displayed on our website.
What is the current board of directors thinking on tiered loan rate agreements?
The board of directors receives monthly updates on tier-based pricing and began evaluating at inception the impact on members. And they continue to evaluate the change in the pricing approach. The reduction from 5 tiers down to 3 tiers is an example of that ongoing analysis, which again began from day 1. And it's the board's response.
Curious if we've seen an increase or a decrease in lending since the implementation of using credit scores.
So I hope you listened to my presentation just a little while ago. All right, but despite the economic conditions right now that are currently impacting many of our members, we've continued to experience growth in the loan portfolio, and specific to tiered-based pricing. Since implementing our new pricing model, we have seen an increase in lending to members with higher credit scores as we're able to offer much more competitive interest rates.
How can we improve the tiered lending system? Because people I have talked to do not like it.
So SECU utilizes a tier-based model that correlates pricing to credit risk and servicing costs associated with lending. It also allows SECU to better serve all of our members by offering fair and competitive rates while helping the credit union also remain financially stable. SECU, mentioned this before, continually evaluates our lending policies to ensure we continue to provide valuable lending options for all of our members.
Is one member's financial well-being more important than another member's financial well-being? If not, then why use risk-based lending?
So as noted in our mission statement that we all read together, SECU sets out to be the trusted provider of financial services to every eligible member and to enhance the value of their lives and financial well-being while maintaining our fiscal strength. A tier-based pricing model better correlates pricing to the credit risk and servicing costs associated with lending. It allows SECU to better serve all of our members by offering fair and competitive rates to everyone.
Does tier-based pricing exclude anyone? Does the lending officer have the ability to consider extenuating circumstances?
So risk-based lending did not change our underwriting policies, all right? First and foremost. All loan decisions are still made by our branch or lending contact center staff. And it's with consideration given to the member's credit history and their ability to repay the loan. SECU lending officers do not have the ability to make policy or rate exceptions, as this could present fair lending concerns for our organization.
How do we ensure that this will not disproportionately affect certain members having access to loans and fair rates if they have lower scores? Have we experienced anyone not getting a loan that would have before this implementation?
We still offer lending options to all members who meet our underwriting policies and guidelines, regardless of their credit score or no score. SECU has and always will continue to maintain a robust fair lending framework as well. with multiple departments across the organization tasked with ensuring fair and non-discriminatory treatment for our members. For example, our fair and responsible lending teams within loan admin review all of our loan denials, and that's to ensure the fair and consistent treatment. Within our risk and compliance area as well, there is regular analysis that's performed using statistical data, and it monitors the lending performance across all demographic groups.
Our next section, borrowing. Why did the board allow $5 billion in deposits to run off before finally raising deposit rates?
Okay, we could go back to the graph and remember the Orange Mountain, right, too? Lots of folks had issues with deposits leaving. But understanding the journey of deposit balances over the past 4 years, absolutely, we acknowledge there was a very volatile period there. During 2020, interest rates on loans, investments, and deposits dropped to historic lows as the COVID pandemic spread throughout the nation. In response to the uncertain times, members received those economic impact payments, federal stimulus payments I talked about in 2020 and 2021, which significantly grew our member deposits beyond our normal growth trajectory. Deposits grew $10 billion from March 2020 to June of 2022, with $4 billion from those federal stimulus payments. Members were saving at very high rates with so much economic uncertainty. As inflation increased in 2021 and 2022, and the Fed increased rates throughout 2022 and 2023, many members used the federal stimulus to keep up with the higher cost of living as well. Some members were, and rightly so, searching for higher interest rates than what SECU was providing at the time. The decline in deposit balances was not unique to SECU, and it was felt throughout the financial industry. You may remember last year me saying that deposits were sexy again. That had not been the case for a long time, right? But everybody talked about deposits. So we started raising rates in May of 22, shortly after the Federal Reserve started moving their rates upward. And we continued increasing our deposit rates on IRAs, money markets, with a focus on STC rates, which I hope you've noticed over the last year. In June of 23, we started, as that graph indicated earlier, to see deposit balances stabilize. And during the first quarter of this year, member deposits increased $1.2 billion. They're coming back.
Why did the board borrow $5 billion from the Federal Reserve Bank and pay $160 million in interest to the Fed instead of raising deposit rates and paying members that interest?
SECU utilized the Bank Term Funding Program offered by the Federal Reserve in July 2023 with a borrowing of $1 billion to ensure that we had sufficient funds to meet operational and member needs on various days. SECU has borrowed funds in the past, folks, specifically various times in 2008 through early 2010. For instance, in 2009, SECU borrowed funds from the Federal Reserve 177 times during that 1 year alone. We currently maintain a $5 billion borrowing because we are earning interest income on these funds at a higher rate than it cost us to borrow the funds. It is a misnomer that the expense of the borrowings could have been passed on to members through higher deposit rates if the borrowings did not exist. During fiscal year ending June of 2024, we earned $186 million in interest income from the additional funds of the borrowings, compared to $169 million that we paid out in interest expense. The impact is our net income would have been $17 million lower if we eliminated the borrowings. So the idea that the borrowing and not borrowing $5 billion would have given us $169 million to pay out in higher deposit rates, it is not accurate.
Our next section, rates. Savings or money market rates at SECU are non-competitive with other institutions. 70 plus offer greater than 4.5%. As an example, Blue Creek Credit Union offering 4.89%. How will we improve savings money market rates for the average member to encourage reinvestment?
So let me just tell you, if you're getting that 4.89, you are not the average member, I promise you, all right? So at SECU, we continue to benefit our members and we provide them with very competitive deposit rates on STCs, on money markets, and on IRAs. So many other institutions, as I mentioned previously, they have tiered deposit rates, and that requires high balances in order to receive higher interest rates. We do not do that. We have targeted our best rates right now in short-term certificate accounts to create longer-term value for our members in a declining rate environment, as well as offering money market rates which allow our members the security of access to their funds while receiving a higher return on their savings. During fiscal year 2024, we paid out $831 million in deposit interest, an increase of $502 million from the previous year. We continually monitor our ability to offer competitive deposit rates that are at the top of our market surveys.
Our next section, the strategic direction. In 5 years, what is going to be the biggest threat to SECU, and how are we preparing for it?
Cyber attacks and new competitors, such as fintechs, are the biggest threats right now for the foreseeable future. Many members also now view SECU as commodity, and we want to position ourselves to be the best option for our members to meet their financial needs while also protecting their data. To remain competitive in today's financial industry, SECU is already committed to digital transformation and automation. We talked about that a little earlier. We're working closely with our vendors and our staff members to ensure that we are investing in products that are secure and will help us maintain SECU's safety and soundness. For us to be the best option for our members, we're focused on providing digital services that mirror the excellent service that our members receive in our physical branch locations. As SECU's people have always been our competitive advantage. I say they are our what? Secret sauce. That's right.
How will the Board of Directors continue to support the technological growth of the organization as we work towards meeting our members wherever they want us to be? Why is this critical for us to invest in technology?
So our board hears our members loud and clear, and they recognize the importance of technological advancement. Remember that IT governance committee I just mentioned a little while ago? A new committee that's been started in the last year. And in order to stay relevant and meet our member demands, we have to modernize. Every part of our lives right now involves technology these days, and SECU is no different, folks. In June of this year, our members conducted 2.5 million branch teller transactions, And in that same month, our members initiated over 42.8 million member access sessions. That's when you're logging in to check your balance, remember? And then they also completed 6.8 million transactions online. So this is why we're investing in technology.
How is SECU planning to continue to stay competitive with other credit unions and banks? What would you do differently to improve the organization as a short-term or even a long-term goal?
This is a great question. So, SECU is absolutely planning to continue to stay competitive. And our exec team and our board is consistently looking at the strategic plan and laying that out. Within that strategic plan, it also mentions that we want to be better than industry standard. That is incredibly important to us. Our people have always been that secret sauce, and if we can get our technology advanced and enhanced, we're going to be even more competitive. I'm not sure that there's anything that I would have done differently, maybe in the short term, but a long-term goal is completing a core replacement with a goal towards more innovation at SECU, and I think that that new core is going to allow us to do a heck of a lot more of that.
Do you plan on making any adjustments to the strategic plan depending on who wins the presidential election?
Okay, we're not going there. No, seriously, the strategic plan changes, believe it or not, they may be driven off of regulatory changes that could result from the presidential election outcome. Other than required regulatory changes that we have, I don't expect significant changes. And our exec team is meeting in December and in January to make any of those needed adjustments, and then we will bring that new strategic plan, if it is adjusted, back to the board in January for their approval.
Does the board of directors and president CEO of SECU really feel like they are making decisions that are in the best interest of the members?
Absolutely, we do. The board and I feel like we are making decisions that are in the best interest of all SECU members.
When will the SECU be restored to the conditions that NCUA requires to be a member-owned nonprofit credit union? I took a 20% pension cut by leaving OSA with 26 years. I did it because I did not want to do illegal, unethical actions of my state auditor. The SECU board wants to be a bank. Resign now.
No. Look. Look, let me make sure that everybody understands there is nothing illegal or unethical going on at SECU. I am sorry. And NCUA, we meet the NCUA regulations. We are not a nonprofit credit union either. We are a not-for-profit, all right? There is some difference here. So the credit union's board and the executive leadership team work to ensure that its decisions align with our regulatory requirements, which are very robust, I might add, all right? Our regulator is sitting right down here, and she can nod on that. So I want to make sure that you know that we have no plans to become a bank. That is not what we are about. We're an incredibly strong member-owned cooperative, and we are deeply committed to the credit union's core mission of serving all of our eligible members. This means making decisions that are, in a way, they prioritize the needs of our members while complying with any legal or regulatory framework that governs the credit union industry.
With the major losses experienced by SECU, the cash-out situation with an over $30 million loss, exorbitant loan charge-offs since beginning tier-based lending, and bloated operational expenses, to name a few, when will SECU start providing better fiscal responsibility for its members' money in order to pay better rates on deposit accounts?
Okay, so I think some of these are already addressed in the presentation in terms of the loan charge-offs and how ours look compared to everyone else's, right? And then in terms of the charge-offs, those charge-offs, there is no correlation with risk-based and or, as we call it, tiered pricing, all right? There is no correlation there. I want to make sure that you all know that. And the bloated operational expenses, nope. We kept, and anybody that knows me at our organization, I am as cheap as they come, all right? I know I heard somebody say yes. It's all right. Our full-time headcount in September of 2022, we were at 7,697. And a couple of weeks ago, the full-time headcount, September of 2024, 7,740. That's not adding a lot of people, folks. That is being good stewards of your member dollars. And human capital costs are the highest costs that we have at our organization. So no, as Mona mentioned, we are keeping those costs lower. So she mentioned how we are low in fees. Our members on average paid $17 in fees in the last fiscal year. And all of these things point to a safe and sound credit union. And we're continuing to serve our members. Now, the Cash Out, it's actually Cash App. I don't know if anybody has Cash App out there. I am not a fan. And all of our branch team members, our card services, our lending folks know exactly why. All right. We did experience a $23 million loss in 2023 that we had to charge off. And that was when 13,000 SECU members defrauded SECU through a Cash App scheme that went viral on social media. Those members now just have a base share account, and that's all they have. And they're not eligible for any other services at SECU until they pay that money back.
What are some of the main goals the administration wishes to tackle in the coming year?
So I'm not going to go over this one just because I already covered this one of what's coming in the next fiscal year. So.
How will the elected official generate more revenue for the company so that account holders can receive more incentives and perks for being an account holder for State Employees Credit Union?
So I'm not sure about the elected official point of this thing, but I will tell you that we are introducing that new rewards cards, the credit cards, in the spring. And when possible, we are also reinvesting those low-term, low-yielding U.S. Treasury investments from 2020 and 2021 into higher-yielding investments. Last year, you may recall me talking about our $9.5 billion in U.S. Treasury securities that were basically underwater. And if we sold those then, hundreds of millions in losses. Our accounting and finance team have done an incredible job of when it looked like our income was going to be able to sustain it this year, they sold off little chunks of that. So I think we have roughly $6.5 billion maybe left of that $9.5 billion now. But some of those go out to 2027, folks. So we are doing what we can to bring in additional income.
I find it interesting that there are 4 board seats on the ballot this year, and the only 4 candidates recommended and nominated by the nominating committee are already on the board. Term limits would certainly help with conflict of interest perceptions.
Okay. So our bylaws right now, they don't impose or permit term limitations for SECU board members. That is driven from our bylaws. The candidates, as I mentioned before, their completed applications are available on SECU's website and at your tables today. And our nominating committee chair, Chuck Stone, gave the report earlier about why those folks were chosen. So the board nominated candidates' priorities for 2025 are to, 1, support technology improvements that A, enhance the member experience, B, safeguard members' financial resources, and C, protect members' personally identifiable information from identity theft. 2, seek member input and review the utilization of our products and services to ensure that they provide value and meet the financial needs of our members. And 3, advocate to overcome barriers and adjust where needed to help our members achieve financial success and assure the safety and the soundness of SECU.
Are you planning on continuing to move the credit union towards a for-profit institution and away from its values and ethos as a credit union?
SECU has never been a for-profit institution. We have no plans to be a for-profit institution. If you review our financials in their entirety, I hope you will see how much more has been given back to our members in the last fiscal year. Our mission at SECU has remained the same mission, and we will continue to honor and live up to that mission. Our values and our ethos, our culture, has remained the same. Our members are at the center for SECU, and our team members every day exhibit our culture of care for our members.
Our next topic, LGFCU. What is the current status of the LGFCU separation from SECU? How does this affect SECU members?
So local government's path to independence, just like we talked about Latino's path earlier, it's still on track right now to take place on June 1st of 2025. The leadership teams from both SECU and local government meet regularly to ensure the transition will be as smooth as possible. This change will not have an impact on SECU members.
Please explain the nature of the financial relationship or terms of agreement between SECU and LGFCU.
So SECU has, and I talked a little bit about this last year too, SECU has an agreement with local government federal credit union to provide them with branch, clerical, administrative, back office, and consulting services for compensation that's agreed upon by both credit unions.
Now that LGFCU is separating, how does SECU plan to attract new members and retain existing ones?
So please keep in mind, local government members, as much as we love serving them, all right, in all of our branches, they're not SECU members, okay? There's a distinct difference there. Local government has always been a separate credit union. And SECU, Mona talked about the 70-some-odd thousand, all right? That's net new members of what we've brought in as opposed to maybe members that moved away from us. But we continue to bring in anywhere from around 11,000 to 13,000 new members per month. And some of our future efforts are going to be focused on expanding products and services for our members and educating those members on the value of our products and services.
In what creative ways are we going to reach out to rural North Carolina residents, especially those living more than 20 miles from our physical branches?
So we have a total of 275 branches, which includes that one in every county of North Carolina, and approximately 1,100 Cash Points ATM machines, many in the rural areas of North Carolina. Upgrading our technology, it's going to provide us with some additional opportunities to serve members in all areas of our state.
How many branches are there presently, and how many advisor or ambassadors in total? Just asking.
So we have 275 branches, and each branch has up to 12 advisory board members. Roughly, we have around right now 3,200 of those.
With so many banks closing branches, will SECU be downsizing?
No, SECU does not have any plans to close any branches or to downsize. Yeah. As a matter of fact, in communities where we've witnessed other financial institutions close, many of those former banking customers have become members of SECU through family, and they now use SECU as their primary financial institution.
In the next 90 days, how will SECU move to be more of an impact in the local community?
All of our SECU employees receive 8 hours of volunteer service every year that they give back to their communities in a variety of ways. Many are, if they had not used it already, they're using those hours to assist with Hurricane Helene relief efforts. So our focus, I can tell you, over the next 90 days, it's going to be towards those efforts and helping our folks in Western North Carolina.
Our next topic, participation. I would like to have a voice in the decision-making process.
Members do have a voice in that, and they can use it in many ways. You can vote for the board of directors. You can seek to serve on an advisory board, or you can submit an application to join the board of directors as well.
I would like to be a member of the board or one of the committees where I can use my expertise in databases and data analytics to help SECU. What do I have to do for that?
So probably the initial thing right now is going to your local branch and volunteering to serve on that advisory board at the local level. And then if you would like to submit an application the next time to join our board of directors.
How can we focus more on financially literacy programs outreach to college students?
We do a heck of a lot of financial education, financial literacy presentations all across this great state. And we have a financial literacy program that's designed for college students. We have several new resources in the works as well that are going to benefit this particular age group. So the best way that we can increase focus is spreading the word. And I would encourage each of you to spread the word that local SECU representatives are available to lead discussions at community colleges and association groups at universities. So the best thing that you can empower someone with is financial education. So for more information, just a little shameless plug here, go to outreach@ncsecu.org, and you can ask about that. So the other thing we also are doing now is we host college interns in our branches and departments. And those college interns, and we host them all during the year, they learn a variety of financial topics while they are with us that they absolutely take with them when they leave SECU. And some of them have even joined us as full-time employees as well.
How can local North Carolina nonprofits partner with interested statewide branches regarding aligned social returns for our state employees and state?
Again, we offer our employees volunteer service hours annually, and it's proven to be an extremely beneficial in assisting in a wide variety with different organizations from across the state. I think in the June to July timeframe, our employees, and this was even before any hurricanes, they had logged over 8,100 hours of volunteer service in their local communities. So our foundation also has an established database of grant recipients who actively seek volunteers to assist with their ongoing operations, and so you can contact them. Our exec team has done several stints of volunteer work at some of our grantees. So it's very, very rewarding. I'd encourage you to try to get in touch with our foundation staff as well.
Our next topic, products and services. When are we going to give rewards for using our credit card, like points or maybe cash back?
Well, great news. We're going to be launching that cash rewards and points rewards credit cards in 2025. So it is coming.
Will SECU offer small businesses accounts and loans?
So this is our second most requested service from our membership, behind rewards credit cards, by the way. But as I mentioned before, we can make small business services available. We're going to have to get through that core system replacement. We expect to kick off that project in 2025, and fingers crossed, maybe we can complete that project in, let's say, 3 years. We'll go 3 to 4, but I'm hoping 3.
What qualifies a member as a sponsor for a new member for their enrollment into State Employees Credit Union?
SECU membership is open to people employed through the state of North Carolina, related entities, and their family members. So additional eligibility requirements are listed on our website. I encourage you to visit that.
Are we prioritizing member needs by eliminating the tax preparation services?
Yes, we are. The tax preparation program's impact on branch operations only allowed us to reach a very small percentage of our members during tax season. And the volume, often it inhibited the delivery of maybe some of our other more widely utilized services. Phasing out that program has allowed our branch employees to focus on products and services with the potential to allow us to be more impactful in serving the needs of our membership as a whole. Beginning in 2025, eligible North Carolina taxpayers also will be able to submit their state and federal tax returns through the IRS Direct File program as well, which is a free online filing tool.
When will we have Zelle?
Okay, Zelle is definitely one of the payment options, the many payment options that we continue to research. And following our implementation of our new digital platform next year, our phase 2 will be heavily focused in that money movement space, that person-to-person or account-to-account.
Do you see signs of our currency becoming obsolete as we know it in the U.S.? In your corporate meetings, have you had conversations around digital currency?
Well, you just drive to Western North Carolina, and currency is not going away. Cash has been king. But the Federal Reserve did issue a white paper discussing how central bank digital currency might fit into our U.S. landscape in the future. And they also committed to the availability of cash and that central bank digital currency would not reduce or replace cash. So we have no plans right now to offer digital currency. However, I never say never, all right? And what we do is listen to members. And we'll continue to stay in tune, listen to our members, and look at market offerings to determine what we're going to do in the future. But no doing away with cash, okay?
Will you streamline the process for share turn certificate renewal and or purchase of additional share turn certificates, which treats existing customers as new customers for each share turn certificate?
So that core system upgrade that I mentioned just a little bit ago, it will greatly improve our account opening and maintenance experience for our members and for our employees. So as I said, we'll kick it off in 2025. It'll take several years, but yes, we expect that to come.
What are the pros and cons of SECU offering compound interest rates for certificates of deposit?
So our current STC products are simple interest products, meaning that the interest is not compounded. So when shopping for a share term certificate, consumers should always compare the annual percentage yield, that APY, between deposit product options. APY of an STC includes the impact of the compounding effect. So in other words, if you're looking at a compounded share term certificate at another financial institution, make sure you're looking at the APY for an accurate comparison of what you will earn on the STC. It's worth noting that interest from an SECU share term certificate can be paid monthly to another deposit account, for instance, money market, that does offer compounding after the interest proceeds have been deposited.
How about a few special incentives for senior citizen members?
So once we have that new core system in place, all right, we're going to be able to offer some promotions or some campaigns for different products and services based on various member life stages. So we do hope to do that.
Will there be a resolution regarding providing the PIN number over the phone or at the branch for debit cards?
It is on our roadmap for sure. Technology enhancements scheduled for implementation next year are going to help position us to be better able to explore options for members to change their debit card PINs online and by phone using our automated voice response system.
What does the future of online banking tools look like, and how will members be able to navigate all of these changes?
So ensuring that our members are well prepared for upcoming changes will be a major focus as we roll out enhancements to the delivery channels. So you should expect advanced communications, online demos, tutorials, and our staff. We're going to have to prepare our staff to help you navigate those changes as they come about.
Our next topic, lending. I'd like a loan to take care of something on my credit, as I can't open a small business account right now.
And we'd be happy to help you. All right. We offer convenient options for our members to apply for credit. Extensive branch network, a lending contact center, or online. So it allows members to decide how they want to be served. And our lending officers are available to assist and answer those questions and assist with that application process.
When will SECU start offering construction loans again?
We get this question a lot. Now that we have put in that new mortgage servicing platform that I mentioned, we will begin dedicating resources to building a new and improved construction loan product, and we are hoping to have that reintroduced by the end of 2025.
Would you ever consider having the loan review process giving back to the branches? This was a great selling point in that anyone in the system could review their loan and not one central system.
So we continue to maintain a member-centric local loan decision process. The decision to approve or deny a member's request remains with the lending officer in our branch or the contact center. All right, and our branches obviously are in our local communities. So if the member so chooses whatever channel, we want them to be able to have that channel for their lending needs. And it continues to be a selling point for SECU that has not changed. All that's changed is the denied applications, okay? Those denied applications are reviewed centrally by an independent team, and that ensures that every member gets the same full second review.
On the salary advance loan, where does the member's money go when the salary loan has finished the maximum of $500? It does not show anywhere in the members' accounts, and it is a continuous process each month for years. Does SECU take it?
No. So 5% of each loan advance is pledged as collateral until the balance of the member's salary advance cash account equals or exceeds $500. Once the cash account reaches $500, the interest rate on the loan is reduced, and the full proceeds from all future salary advances are deposited to the member's account, receiving their direct deposit. So, and I want to let you know that in Hurricane Helene, for members who need those salary cash funds, we will allow that to go below $500 as well, and not inhibit their ability to get a loan. Typically, the program does inhibit that, but those folks might need that money right now, and so we are waiving that.
What's SECU's plan for the secondary mortgage market?
So we are planning to align all of our underwriting guidelines for mortgage products to the secondary market standards. Aligning it to the standards, it's going to provide more liquidity options for us to manage the balance sheet and continue to offer a full array of mortgage products, and that includes that 30-year fixed rate mortgage that a lot of our members want. If we do sell loans in the secondary market, our plan is to sell eligible fixed rate mortgages. And we plan to retain the mortgage servicing rights so that our members will continue to interact with SECU staff throughout the life of their loan, similar to our process way back in 2000.
This is our last miscellaneous section. What are the outcomes from the Member Relations Committee meetings?
So we are still working on the outcomes from those meetings. That committee continues to work on that information. Conversations were certainly very productive, and they received great feedback from those attendees. But the Member Relations Committee will work to present any changes that they'd like to make to the board.
This is a career track question. I am not an SECU employee, but rather an advisory board member, but I am curious of career track for SECU employees. For example, if one started as a teller at the college job, then joined SECU full-time after college graduation, then what would be the steps all the way to the top if the top were in play?
Well, I'm on this side of my career, so at some point this top's going to be in play. Let me just tell you. All right. And how many of our management team members started in college? Any of those? I know we have them out there. Great success stories, folks. Great success stories. So we offer many, many opportunities for professional growth and development in a lot of different areas. And we have had numerous leaders over the years who started their careers with SECU as a part-time employee, and they worked their way up into management. There are more opportunities now for advancement in our organization than ever before.
Why does State Employees Credit Union have to retain a firm to answer questions? I saw an article in the North Carolina Business Magazine, and no one at SECU could answer the reporter's questions. Does no one at the credit union have expertise to answer questions?
Yes, we do. And we did not retain a firm to answer any questions. So let me tell you, I've been at this organization for 37 years, and a lot of that time has been spent in the communications field. I think what you're referencing is maybe a Business North Carolina article where Will Hunt from Callahan was quoted. We have, remember those peer graphs that I showed you earlier? So we've maintained a subscription with Callahan, that peer reporting service, for years. The reporter from Business North Carolina asked about delinquencies and charge-offs at SECU, and we noted that SECU's figures were similar to peers. It was logical that Will Hunt could provide that reporter with the information about the credit union industry and SECU's similarity to the credit union industry. We certainly did not pay Will Hunt to provide that information to the reporter, and I don't intend to pay anyone to speak on behalf of SECU.
Why is there an SECU fee taken from accounts every month? What is that money used for? Will SECU consider eliminating the $1 per month fee on checking accounts, which goes to the SECU Foundation, and instead allow direct donations if a member decides?
There is something called the power of a dollar. And if someone does not wish for their dollar to go to the SECU Foundation, then that dollar would be routed to help with operating costs of the credit union. But we have no plans to do away with that dollar. That dollar is making a difference all across our state.
What are we doing to combat elder fraud in our membership and our communities?
Our team members receive ongoing training to identify red flags that may indicate financial exploitation, abuse, and/or neglect. Additionally, we have a dedicated financial exploitation prevention team that monitors and responds to reports of these activities and handles reporting to adult protective services and/or local law enforcement as we need to. We also focus on educating our members on fraud and exploitation by providing information in our branches, our newsletters, and on our website.
Okay, our very last question. What's the status of pending lawsuits against the credit union? I've had several issues with my accounts, such as a credit card balance, loan account balance, and disability insurance payout concerns that are not resolved at this point. Is it related to a security issue or concerns within the ranks?
No. So I'm not exactly sure what this question refers to. While occasionally, every now and then, SECU may sometimes be named as a defendant in a lawsuit, such instances are very, very rare. With regard to security issues or concerns within the ranks, SECU has a zero tolerance policy for employee malfeasance. Zero. And that's for malfeasance, theft, or fraud. We closely monitor for insider and external threats. So I always kind of equate this to my kids, maybe. All right, for the most part, and I have 3, and of course, they're adulting now, as we call it in our house. But when they were little, let me tell you, I mean, for the most part, they were really good kids. But every once in a while, they do something and you're going, what were they thinking, right? Every once in a while, maybe one of our employees does the same, but we have a zero tolerance policy for that. And we work very hard to prevent that. All right. I think that is all we have. We do appreciate the questions.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you, Lee, and thank you to everyone who submitted a question for today's Q&A session. We are now ready to report out the election results. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to be delivered to me here on the stage. That's Mike Risk with Ernst & Young. So I will, by order of the names as they appeared on the ballot, I will tell you how many votes were received by each of the candidates, and then I will announce the 4 candidates with the highest number of votes, and therefore those elected to the Board of Directors. Robert Brinson received 56,217 votes. Mark Fleming received 53,974 votes. Stephanie Williams received 62,392 votes. McKinley Wooten received 59,869 votes. Jean Blaine received 22,205 votes. Susie Ford received 31,109 votes. Julian Halls received 31,203 votes, and Kirby Parrish received 28,600 votes. The winning candidates and those elected to the Board of Directors for a 3-year term are Robert Brinson, Mark Fleming, Stephanie Williams, and McKinley Wooten, Jr. I thank all of the candidates for their participation in this process. The agenda for today's meeting having been completed, the 2024 SECU Annual Meeting of the membership is now adjourned. On behalf of the board, thank you for attending. We wish you safe travels.